This is American Ground Radio. I'm Stephen Paul with Louis R. Avalone.
This will no doubt make the National Organization of Women, or Gloria Steinem, or Hillary Clinton. Now, it's not going to make any of those folks happy whatsoever.
What isn't?
Well, because, Supreme Court decision today. I mean, even President Biden said his administration was going to achieve new heights for women's rights. I mean, this just isn't going to be, it's not going to make this any easier, what happened today at the Supreme Court. I'm sure they're all going to be up in arms over this, but today the Supreme Court said they will not hear an appeal challenging the all-male military draft requirement. So
I don't think that Hillary was really upset that.
Well, they should be.
Why?
What do you mean why?
Well,
why are we just requiring men to register?
Well, this part they may not like, but on average,
wait a minute,
are stronger than women.
If men can have babies,
men cannot have babies.
If women can become men,
women cannot become men.
Then why in the world would we limit those that are born with female parts? Why would we say to them, you are not allowed to register for selective service?
Well, you can enlist in the military if you want. We're not preventing women.
I understand,
those who are born with women parts or birthing people. We're not preventing them from going into the military. They can go into it.
No, but those that are born with male parts don't have that choice.
That's
because
right.
Per the Military Selective Service Act,
yes,
every male, and I wonder how we're going to define male in the Biden administration, because we already know that gender is fluid.
Yeah, I recommend the traditional way. It's not only accurate and scientifically correct, it's also efficient.
All right, so per the Military Selective Service Act, however, every male is required to register for the military draft when they turn 18, but not women.
Right.
So the court said it's up to Congress to make decisions on matters of national defense. They're not going to weigh in on this issue. Now, the Obama administration, back in 2013, they lifted a ban on women serving in combat roles,
and I'm fine with that. Because I've met women who actually I've met a couple of the women who were the first women to go through Ranger School. That is an impressive feat. If you are doing anybody to go through Ranger School is an impressive feat. To be the first women to go through Ranger School, I think that's amazing.
We're not
that's
talking
wonderful.
about the job that women do in our military. And by the way, we want to thank all of the men and women,
right? Especially
Especially those who gave their lives defending our freedom. This isn't about the competency. This lawsuit is all about whether or not women are required to register when they turn 18, like every male is.
And Congress says no.
Congress says no. That's going to be up to Congress.
And Congress at least acknowledges. Congress acknowledges that there are differences between men and women. The military acknowledges there are differences between men and women. Anyone who says there are not differences between men and women simply is ignoring science.
Well, and maybe it's just as well. Because the U.S. ended the draft in 1973, and we converted to an all-voluntary or all-volunteer military force.
Right.
Now, during the 1950s and the 1960s, you see, the draft forced some people into the military that simply were not yet prepared to serve in the military, and this increased the rate of turnover, for example.
Right.
So maybe compulsory
service
is not what it's all cracked up to be, because if you have these involuntary soldiers, what that usually did was it diminished the morale, it caused discipline problems,
right,
and it increased turnover in the military.
Exactly. And there's something to be said for an all-volunteer force, especially when the existence of the nation is not threatened. During World War II, the existence of the nation was threatened. We needed everybody on board. Since then, we really haven't had that same type of a situation.
Why would all of the LGBTQ3 plus, whatever, however many other letters of the alphabet that there may be,
the XYZ crowd,
why wouldn't they be up in arms about this? Because you're basically saying that a man or a woman who identifies as the opposite sex has different rights in terms of the military.
Well, different obligations. It's not a right to register for the draft. That's an obligation.
No, but I think it's one of the last sex-based classifications in federal law.
It's one of them.
All right. Well, anyway, talk about the military. And what Congress has in store for our military is a woke military.
Yes.
Let me just take you back just a few years to a recruitment television commercial from the United States military. Here's one example.
A Ranger never takes the easy way out.
You're reaching deep inside you for things you've never known.
No! That's why getting into the Rangers is tough and the training is tough.
Be all that you can be.
So it makes me feel like I'm part of something really special.
Be all that you can be.
And I'm not the only one.
You can do it in the Army.
That's pretty good, yeah.
You remember that one?
Oh, yeah, that Be All You Can Be song. That's stuck in my head.
And here's one more.
Yep.
If you've got what it takes and really care, there's a special kind of life you'll want to share. Serving your country is a special call. It's good for you, it's good for all. Not all who try fit the bill. It calls for brains, it calls for skill in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. High tech and the services go hand in hand. A whole new world, you're in demand. In the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. You'll move up, you'll feel proud. You'll stand out above the crowd. In the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. But most of all, you'll earn the respect of the people and country you're there to protect. In the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. It's a great place to start.
All right,
Great place to start.
This is what we remember having
Sure.
grown up,
Right.
watching these recruitment videos.
The Marines, the few, the proud, the Marines.
So the Biden administration and the Democrat majority Congress, they have other plans for our military. Let me let you listen. We're going to play for you a clip from,
The most recent recruitment video for the United States Fighting Force.
and just as you're listening, compare and contrast to what you just
Be
heard.
all you can be. Find your future. You can do it.
I had a fairly typical childhood. Took ballet, played violin. I also marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age. When I was 6 years old, one of my moms had an accident that left her paralyzed. Doctors said she might never walk again. But she tapped into my family's pride to get back on her feet, eventually standing at the altar to marry my other mom. With such powerful role models, I finished high school at the top of my class, and then attended UC Davis, where I joined a sorority full of other strong women. But as graduation approached, I began feeling like I'd been handed so much in life. A sorority girl stereotype.
Just stop it. I just can't take any more of
But
that.
the two moms.
Folks,
and
that is your United States military recruitment video. That is Biden's America.
I went to California University. I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do.
This is your United States fighting force. This is the folks that they're trying to recruit, people that want to feel
Validated. Instead of be all you can be, come emote.
I mean, and by the way, we'll talk about this on the other side of the break, on the other side of the top 3 things you need to know.
Hey, good thing you brought that up. Well, rioting has continued in Minneapolis for 3 nights after the U.S. Marshals shot and killed a wanted felon who was firing at them. Winston Smith was wanted on warrants for being a felon in possession of a firearm and failing to appear for a court date. Smith fired at police from inside his car before they returned fire. Smith died at the scene. Officers found a gun and spent cartridges in the car. BLM protesters took to the streets and quickly led to rioting, arson, and the looting of several stores.
Why wouldn't they have taken to the streets to riot and violence?
For this upstanding citizen.
I mean, because, look, the defund the police movement got its start in Minneapolis.
It did.
And year-to-date homicides in Minneapolis are double this year what they were last year.
Second thing you need to know before tomorrow, people who illegally entered the U.S. are not eligible for green cards. That's the unanimous ruling from the Supreme Court. Some illegal aliens who are from countries ravaged by war or natural disasters are given what's called temporary protected status, TPS, by the federal government. But that doesn't mean they can stay here indefinitely. Justice Elena Kagan wrote, the TPS program gives foreign nationals non-immigrant status, but it does not admit them, so the conferral of TPS does not make an unlawful entrant eligible for a green card.
Oh, hold the phones
Right?
here. Does the Supreme Court of the United States know that they are actually endorsing a policy of President Trump?
Ooh, gosh, I guess not. And the third thing you need to know before tomorrow, Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed a new law that last week that prevents health insurance companies from automatically covering elective abortions. The bill requires anyone wanting to have insurance pay for an elective abortion to have supplemental insurance to cover those costs. Texas now joins 25 other states with similar laws. Abbott added, quote, I am proud to sign legislation that ensures no Texan is ever required to pay for a procedure that ends the life of an unborn child.
I hope Senator Richard Blumenthal doesn't hear about this decision, because he said that if the Supreme Court acts in any way pro-life, that the Democrat Party plans to stack or pack the court.
You can't do it without Manchin and Sinema, and they're both opposed to it. So Blumenthal can bluff all he wants.